In our last video, we discussed the next coaster removed from each Cedar Fair park. But today, we will be doing the same thing, but this time for Six Flags parks. And yeah, if you watch my last video, I ended up skipping 2 Cedar Fair parks accidentally, so this time I made sure to include all Six Flags parks. And last thing before I get started, this list is fully my opinion, so do not get upset if your favorite coaster ends up being on this list. Our first park is Frontier City, and I think that Diamondback will be the next coaster removed. This is an Aero shuttle loop coaster that is relocated from Six Flags Great Adventure where it operated as lightning loops. This coaster has gotten harder and harder to maintain over the years, mainly due to Aerodynamics, the coaster's manufacturer, going bankrupt. However, Frontier City did get a new roller coaster in 2019, so I think that Diamondback has a little bit more life left. From Oklahoma to upstate New York, we are going to the Great Escape. Even though this park has an old, outdated, and not very well-liked aero looper Steamin' Demon, I think that Alpine Bobsled will be removed first. This is an old Intamin bobsled roller coaster that has been relocated a few times. And according to locals to the park, the last 2 rows have been closed since 2018 due to concerns regarding whiplash. If I were to take a guess, I'd say give it a few years, but after 2023, I think that this coaster will be removed. The only Canadian park on this list is up next, Ronde. And kinda sadly, I think that the park's 1985 dueling wooden coaster Monster will be removed next. The majority of enthusiasts and park guests alike think that Monster is extremely rough and boring. I would say it has a pretty good chance of getting the RMC treatment, but at the end of the day, it will most likely be torn down and replaced by something else. From one almost universally hated park to another, we are in Maryland for Six Flags America. Even though they have an old, rough, and not very well liked GCI wooden coaster Roar, I point to the 2001 Vekoma flying coaster Batwing. Bad capacity, downtime, and low ridership are all generally not wanted on a roller coaster, but they all exist on Batwing. The final nail in the coffin is that Vekoma discontinued this model and it's almost impossible to get replacement parts for it. And with Six Flags trying to cut corners and save money at all costs, I think that they will get tired of Batwing and remove it pretty soon. Six Flags Darien Lake is up next, and they make it pretty easy for us because they house Predator, a Din wooden coaster that's known for being extremely rough and uncomfortable. Even though I absolutely love the name Predator, I think that this coaster could be so much better as either an RMC hybrid or have something else in its place. Due to having extremely low ridership, I think that Six Flags will get tired of it and pull the plug and announce RMC Predator for the year after. We are heading cross-country from New York to California for Discovery Kingdom. And I actually think that their newest roller coaster, Harley Quinn Crazy Coaster, will be removed next. This ride opened in 2018 to extremely negative reviews. Many people consider this to be one of the worst roller coasters ever built and call it an infamous dumpster fire that needs to be removed soon. I guess I could see this being relocated to a smaller Six Flags park like Great Escape or St. Louis, but at the end of the day, this coaster doesn't belong anywhere except for the garbage. Our next park on our list is Fiesta, Texas, and sadly enough, I believe that Poltergeist will be the next coaster removed. In all honesty, I don't think that anything will be leaving Fiesta, Texas for a while, but I guess I had to choose something, so I chose Poltergeist. This is a cloned Premier Ride spaghetti bowl coaster that has a really bad design that is ideal for valleying in high winds. And no, that is not a good thing, especially combined with Six Flags Fiesta, Texas being known for getting obnoxiously high winds. Like I said earlier, I don't think that Poltergeist will be removed anytime soon, but I do think it will be removed before any other coasters there. Our next park is Great Adventure, and I think that Runaway Mine Train will be the next coaster removed. Even though this is a nice stepping stone roller coaster for younger kids becoming coaster enthusiasts, this coaster is usually criticized for its jerky transitions. Runaway Mine Train also takes up a pretty large plot of land that would be ideal for another expansion. And due to the park getting a new roller coaster in 2020, I think that Runaway Mine Train has a few more years left. From great to great, this time Great America. Almost everybody used to agree on the park's Intamin Impulse Coaster V2 being removed next. But recently, the spotlight was moved and now sits on American Eagle due to some law regarding the highway that it sits right next to. This is an old Intamin wooden roller coaster that is criticized for being unusually boring for a coaster this big. American Eagle will also need new trains in the coming years, so that makes you think, will Six Flags really invest in new trains if it won't help out the ride or make them any more money? This is Six Flags we're talking about. Obviously not. Despite most enthusiasts hoping for another RMC at Great America, I just believe that this will get torn down and sent to the scrapyard. Our next park up is also the flagship park, Magic Mountain. And even though it devastates me in saying this, the obvious choice is Viper. This is the last remaining Aero Mega Looper, and I am in the very small minority of people who think that this is an awesome ride that provides great airtime and awesome forces. But the majority of park guests think that Viper is extremely uncomfortable and needs to be torn down in favor of something new. Frankly, I don't see Viper being removed for the next 5 years. First of all, because Six Flags Magic Mountain needs to get 20 coasters so they can advertise themselves as that. And removing a coaster would just make it harder on them. And another thing is that Viper has gotten unusual TLC recently in order to make it more comfortable. So yeah, I do see Viper being removed next, but I don't see that happening for at least the next 5 years. We're heading south of the border to Mexico to check out Six Flags Mexico. And just like Fiesta, Texas, I don't see anything leaving this park anytime soon. But I did have to choose something, so I chose Boomerang, a Vekoma Boomerang. Even though Six Flags and the general public love boomerangs, this is the only coaster that I could realistically see leaving anytime soon. Our next park is Six Flags New England, and I am kind of cheating here, but I am choosing both Flashback and Goliath to be removed next. Both are relocated Vekoma boomerangs and actually sit right next to each other. They both have their own separate issues, with Flashback valleying and Goliath having unusual amounts of downtime. Also, because removing one of these and keeping the other would give Six Flags little to no space for expansion, so this will most definitely be a package deal. The last 3 parks on our list are ironically the first 3 parks that started the chain, starting with Over Georgia. And just like Fiesta, Texas, and Mexico, I don't see anything leaving this park for a while, but I did have to choose something, so I chose the Dahlonega Mine Train. There are also 2 other coasters that could have been considered for this list, with Blue Hawk and Great American Scream Machine. I didn't choose Great American Scream Machine because Six Flags has recently done some track work in order to make the ride more tolerable, and I didn't choose Blue Hawk due to the major refurbishment it got a few years ago. Back to the Dahlonega Mine Train. There isn't that much to say here, except for it's an old and outdated aero mine train that is very small and mild. Even though it's a great stepping stone attraction for kids looking to get into the bigger rides, I think it'll be removed soon. Our next park up is Over Texas, and I am choosing another Intamin bobsled coaster. This time, it's La Vibora. This is another relocated Intamin bobsled coaster that Six Flags purchased back in the 80s. This coaster has been known for banging your knees around and giving bruises to almost all of its riders. It is also extremely ugly, as Six Flags doesn't paint their rides unless it is absolutely necessary. In terms of a time frame, I think that La Vibora will be gone by 2025. Six Flags St. Louis is our last park, and I think that I would be crazy to put anything but Ninja on this list. This is an Aero and Vekoma custom looping coaster, and I think that both manufacturers want to forget about this one. Just like I've said multiple times earlier in the video, I am in the minority of people who think that Ninja actually looks like a good ride with good airtime and positive forces. I honestly don't mind jerky transitions, and oh boy, the jerky transitions are strong with this one. Despite Ninja having an extremely short layout, it's been known to cause pain all throughout its less than 3,000 feet of track. And a time frame wise, I'd say Ninja will be removed by 2024. That wraps it up for this video. Did you guys agree with the placements? Probably not, but that's okay. Tell me what you think will be the next coaster removed from each Six Flags park in the comments below. And if you haven't, please go follow my Instagram for updates regarding videos, and you might be able to catch me at a park. But anyways, I'll see you later on Hang Time Thrills.